Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another Friday night, end of the month feature of the Riverside Township radio players, and I hope you enjoy them. I'd like to start by saying just a few words about our friend and worker here, Lorenzo Cordova. His father passed away just recently, and knowing that it's very hard when you lose a loved one, my heart is out to you, and you believe me, you'll be in my prayers. And the same goes for everybody else, I think. So from there, I'm going to introduce the first show, which is The Adventures of Sam Spade. Now, Sam Spade was an original character by Dashiell Hammett. Dashiell Hammett wrote The Maltese Falcon. That's probably his most famous work. And he also did the radio series. And it ran from 1946 to 1951. And Howard Duff played Sam Spade for 4 of the 5 years. And it was given to somebody else for the last 10 months of the run of the show. And Effie, his long, loyal secretary, was played for all 5 years by Lorene Tuttle. The name of today's show is The Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail Caper. Unusual name, but it was originally heard on August 28th of 1949. And it may be a wacky title, but it's a good show, and I think you're going to enjoy it. So without any further delay, let's go to The Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail Caper on The Adventures of Sam Spade.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective, brought to you by Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic, the non-alcoholic hair tonic that contains lanolin and new Wild Root Liquid Cream Shampoo.
Sam Spade Detective Agency.
It's me, sweetheart. Have you heard of pulling a rabbit out of a hat?
Yes.
Well, I pulled one out of a pickle.
What happened, Sam?
What happened, she asks. Well, goodbye.
Oh, don't go, Sam. Don't you feel like talking about it?
Frankly, no, but it's expected of me. Sharpen a carrot, brew me some rabbit punch,
What?
and get the hutch ready. I'm about to hippity-hop through the door with the lowdown on the Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail Caper.
Dashiell Hammett, America's leading detective fiction writer and creator of Sam Spade, Hard-Boiled Private Eye, and William Spier, radio's outstanding producer, director of mystery and fine drama, join their talents to make your hair stand on end with The Adventures of Sam Spade, presented by the makers of Wild Root Cream Oil for the hair. Say, Mother, if you get a special thrill out of buying things the whole family can use, then stop at your drug and toilet goods counter for a big family-sized bottle or tube of Wild Root Cream Oil, America's favorite family hair tonic. Dad, Junior, Sis, yes, and you yourself, Mom, will find Wild Root Cream Oil ideal for grooming the hair neatly and naturally, for relieving dryness and removing loose dandruff. So, Mom, ask for it tonight or tomorrow for sure. Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic again and again, the choice of men and women and children too. And now, with Howard Duff starring as Spade, Wild Root brings to you the greatest private detective of them all in The Adventures of Sam Spade.
Effie,
Well, here I am, Sam.
what's the meaning of this?
Of what?
My desk and my chair shoved over to one side of the office.
Oh, to make room for the other desk and the bookcase.
There'll be no other desk and no bookcase and no anything else.
But Sam, I thought you
Don't
had...
say it. Don't even think about that man. You understand?
Oh,
Ah, it's deliciously silent in here, don't you think, F?
Sam, weren't you and he supposed to go and
Stop that.
Oh,
Effie, would you like to have your mouth dry cleaned?
no, sir. Oh, I'm sorry.
I spoke harshly. Forgive me. But the past hours have taken their toll on my nerves. Perhaps I should unburden myself. We'd all feel better.
Well, all right, sir. Unbourbon yourself.
I'm still in command here.
Oh!
To Mrs. Wellington Van Cleve Montague, Nob Hill, where else? City. From Samuel Spade, license number 137596. What else? Subject, the Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail caper, or How Fritz Crockett Saved the Day. My dear, dear Mrs. Montague. It all began Thursday afternoon when I entered my office and discovered a tall, wild young man sitting in my chair with his feet up on my desk and sampling my office bottle.
Hi.
The pose was so familiar, for a minute I thought it was me.
Well, hello, Sam. I'll be with you in a minute. Have a seat.
Thanks. I will. The one you're sitting on. You see, the detective sits in that seat and the clients sit over there.
Well, then that qualifies me for this seat, then. I'm a detective.
I see. Well, the detective we like in this office is Sam Spade, see? He pays the rent, he hires the secretary, he earns the money, and he sits behind his desk. Now, on your feet.
Well, okay. But with two detectives around here and only one detective chair, it's going to get a little crowded.
Mind if I have a drink? Out of my glass?
Oh, sure. Here. You know, we better make a note to get another glass, too. And get some scotch. I don't care much for the bourbon.
No self-respecting detective drinks scotch.
Oh, and put this down. We'll need another desk and, a new paint job on these walls.
Oh?
Yeah, with something bright. Robin's egg blue, maybe. Soothes the nervous clients. And a bookshelf. You got that, Effie, dear? Or am I going too fast?
Oh, I think I got it. Oh, all done, Fritz. Desk, paint, bookshelf, scotch.
At 2, Effie?
She's a doll.
Wait a minute. That's my line.
Well, after I work with you a while, Sam, you'll appreciate me.
So long.
I'm great.
Bye.
You need me.
Why?
Because we'd be an unbeatable team. Why, with my talent and your luck, we couldn't miss.
Luck?
Ever heard of Fritz Crockett?
Chicago Fritz Crockett?
Yeah?
Never heard of him.
Oh, Sam.
Look, you're making your mark in your hometown. Now, why do you want to work for me in San Francisco?
Well, I lost my license in Chicago. Got caught on the hot side of a political battle. Worked for the losers, and the winners framed me for my license.
Oh, gee, tough kid.
Well, I can't get a license in any state until I clear that mess up. And so, I have to work under somebody else's.
Yes, but why me?
Well, because I've kept my eye on you, Sam. I like the way you're developing. I think you could work well with me.
Oh, gee, thanks. Well, your appreciation's received, and now, give me a couple of years to think it over, huh?
Well, what's the matter, Sam? Afraid I might touch your reputation in town?
You found me out. But anyway, bye.
Chicken, huh? Look, you want to compare scrapbooks sometime? A really good detective's got to be an actor. I'd play any style. Listen, we're following a Russian countess to recover Gorky's original manuscript of The Lower Depths. I meet her in the lobby of the St. Mark, disguised as an itinerant caviar salesman. Oh, Countess Natasha Mishikov. Oh, isn't it noisy in San Francisco? Oh, how long has it been? 8 years, 12 years. Have you forgotten little Andrea so soon?
Andre, sorry, no casting today.
Oh, but look, you gotta be an actor, Sam. Look, we're dealing a mortal blow to the gun-running career of Don Jose Ortega Sanchez, the notorious bandit king.
So what?
Don Jose, you have bought your last guns and sold them to incite revolution inside the once peace-loving border countries.
Yeah.
I am powerless to prevent your execution. Die like the proudest Spaniard that you are. A cigarette?
Fritz, for heaven's sake.
Oh, I'll help you, Sam. Look, you've been captured by a mutinous crew off an English tramp steamer, and I burst through the door.
Get your bloomin' bloody hands off that man!
This one I can do myself. Off a mo, Tagger. I don't know exactly why I sat there listening to the guy, but I did. He was sort of a one-man theater guild. He ran through 28 dialects, played a scene in which James Mason and Montgomery Clift were trapped by an Armenian rug merchant and were saved by the voice of Gabriel Heater on the radio. Then he played all 4 of the Marx Brothers, arguing with the Andrews sisters. Then, after the intermission, he told me a little bit about himself, regaling me with spine-tingling accounts of his Frank Merriweather-type achievements on the football field and professional boxing and hockey. It was pretty thrilling stuff. But nonetheless, I was about to usher him out when he came up with a particularly good bit of dialogue.
I have a job for us.
Yeah, well, so... Job? Where?
Well, yesterday, Sam, I met an old friend from Chicago. She remembered me from an important cocktail party. Well, I saved it for her. The party. Oh, everybody was absolutely dreary until I became de rigueur with the brace of a few amusing anecdotes.
The job, Fritz, the job.
Yeah. Oh, well, anyway, she wants us to guard a valuable hunk of jewelry at a party tonight on Nob Hill.
What's the money?
100 apiece. Plus mingling with top-notch dancers and all the caviar we can eat.
Well, it's better than I expected. In fact,
Now, here's what I want you to do.
Oh, wait a minute. What's with this? Here's what I want you to do. This is the Sam Spade Detective Agency, named so because Sam Spade is the man who gives the orders around here. Now, what do you want me to do?
Well, this is a costume party, and we have to wear costumes. It's in the deal.
Good. I'll break your leg and you can go as the man who came to dinner.
Sam, I already have the costumes.
What?
Right here.
Crockett, what would you have done if I didn't go with you?
You know, Sam, that thought never entered my head.
Well, what are the costumes?
Sam, 100 clams apiece is a lot of dough, isn't it?
Agreed.
You are about to confront the reason we are being paid so much.
What is that?
Your costume. You are to go as a rabbit, a white rabbit. Here's the suit. Oh, and here's the head. Notice the shocking pink ears?
No, the deal's off. It's been swell, but...
Now, wait a minute. I am also going as a rabbit. See, you will go as Flopsy, and I will go as Mopsy.
I will not go anywhere dressed in that ridiculous outfit.
$100, Sam.
I will... Well...
Sam, let's talk this over. Now, look, I will talk to you as a businessman might talk to you. Now, Mr. Spade, you take your ordinary type detective, and you've got a pretty body...
We talked and talked, and around 8 o'clock that night I found myself still talking and walking up the steps of your Nob Hill mansion, Mrs. Montague, cleverly disguised as Flopsy the rabbit, paw in paw with Mopsy Crockett. My headpiece covered everything but my eyes, nose, and mouth, and I was grateful for that. When I passed the doorman, I was tempted to say, what's up, Doc? But Fritz said it ahead of me. He walked in as if this was his personal hutch, and you, Mrs. Montague, cruised over to us.
Well, my little bunny twins, aren't you both so darling?
Yeah.
Which one of you is Mr. Spade?
Well, I'm Mr. Crockett, Mrs. Montague. Mopsy. You remember me from being at Nesbitt's soiree with Ronnie and Bonita? Or maybe it was Gypsy introduced us. Ne sais pas.
Oh, yes. Oh, I'm glad you were able to be here, Mr. Spade. I've always wanted to meet you.
Thank you, Mrs. Montague. I am the straight man.
How do you like my costume?
Well,
There's not another like it in town.
yeah.
I'm the only wood nymph in San Francisco.
The trees will swoon. They will.
Oh, you.
Mrs. Montague, perhaps you'd be disposed to outline our job?
Well, of course, Mr. Crockett. I myself, Mrs. Arlington Clifford McGill, and the famous Spanish artist Julio Noriega are going to pick the woman with the most fascinating costume.
Search no further. It could be no one but you.
Oh, flatterer. I'm not eligible.
Oh.
Then at 10 o'clock, we'll have a grand parade. The winner will lead the parade wearing a small jeweled studded crown. Oh, and it's darling. Thousands of emeralds and all sorts of things. Well, this crown once belonged to Josephine of France. Imagine.
Mrs. Montague, I hate to be an old killjoy, but are we here to guard the crown?
That's right, Flopsy. I think this is best.
How is that?
Well, of course, I don't expect any trouble, but it is so valuable. I can't take any chances. My husband picked it up in Iran. He's in pickles, you know.
Well, you know best.
Where's the crown now, Mrs. Montague?
Oh, in the wall safe in the master bedroom on the second floor. Here's the combination to the safe written down.
I'd rather not have the combination, if you don't mind, until it's time to get the crown.
Oh, now, don't be silly, Mr. Spade. Except for the crown, there's only $50,000 or $60,000 in the safe.
Oh, well, if that's all.
And the safe is behind the Degas original. Now, until I need you, just go and enjoy yourselves.
Well, we're going.
Maybe I'll even let you dance with little me.
Fritz and I synchronized our watches and decided that until we were needed, we would lose ourselves in the crowd and keep our big rabbit ears open. Everybody was masked and loaded, and it was all very gay. I brushed elbows with pirates, Northwest Mounted Police, unmounted, a gorilla, an Arabian princess, 4 Pocahontases, and assorted but historic characters from Julius Caesar to Mike Romanoff, and I was dipping a carrot into the punch bowl when a girl made her way over to me. I knew it was a girl immediately. You could tell. I tagged her as a burlesque queen, but she didn't talk much like one.
Are you an e-bunny or a she-bunny?
I'm a e-bunny.
Would you like to dance with me?
I'd be delighted.
Who are you?
I'm not supposed to tell until the masks come off. For now, just call me Flopsy.
Oh, Flopsy, how cute! You Americans have the cutest ideas.
Yeah. Speaking of ideas, what do you represent?
I am a folie bergère dancer. Do you like me?
Well, from where I stand, it would be next to impossible to dislike you.
Such a sweet compliment.
Believe me, it was easy. Tell me, have you been in this country long?
A few weeks. My family has sent me on a tour of America.
I see.
I am here as the guest of Mr. Montague. Now, tell me, are you a detective, are you not?
As much as I regretted doing it, I hastily detached myself from Miss Foliage Bergère of 1949. How she knew I was a detective puzzled me. I saw Crockett talking with a paunchy red devil and a middle-aged Christopher Columbus and stopped by. They were big businessmen, obviously, and so was he.
Well, now you take your ordinary paper freight over here today, and you take them over there, and I tell you something, when you meet in a place
It
like
was
this...
impossible to interrupt him, so I moved on. Finally, I sat down to rest in a dim corner of the library, and I no sooner did than a large green pickle with two bandy legs sticking out of it sat down beside me.
Want a bite of pickle?
No thanks.
Go ahead, it's free.
I only eat carrots. Thank you just the same.
I suppose you know who I am.
As a matter of fact, I don't know.
Well, I shouldn't tell you, but I'm lonesome for somebody to talk to.
Well,
My wife's dancing with another man. Sometimes I think she only likes me for my money.
I find that hard to believe.
Well, I have millions, just millions. I'm Horace Montague, the Pickle King. I've sold more pickles than any living man.
Congratulations.
You like my costume?
I never smelled anything like it.
Well, I came this time as just an ordinary new pickle. Sometimes I come as a dill. Sometimes I come as a gherkin.
How jolly.
Once I came as a sweet-sour mixture.
Yeah.
And I got very confused.
Well, that's up to you.
I guess all I really have is my money. But I get kind of tired of being so rich. It was fun in the early days. I was a pioneer,
You, started, I suppose, with just a wart?
Yeah, yes. That's very, very funny. Funny.
Yeah, well, keep laughing, Horace. I have to be running along.
Oh, thank you for talking to me.
I was beginning to feel like an extra in Alice in Wonderland. I headed back for the solace of the punch bowl. I saw Mopsy Crockett standing with the Foliage Bergère dancer and went over to him, but he suddenly turned and hopped away faster than I could hop after him. Why the coyness, I couldn't understand. When I finally caught up with him 10 minutes later, he was waltzing with Anne of Austria, who was hanging on his every word, and that was a lot of hanging.
Oh, my darling, until you have tasted mein Liebkutchen, you have the spirit of Goethe, Schiller, and Heimler all baked in one
Do you
gula.
mind if I cut in?
Oh, if you must.
I mean with the other rabbit. Come along, Mopsy.
Well, of all the
Oh,
nerve.
excuse me, darling. I come later back. Hello, Sam. What do you hear from the mob?
What's the idea of avoiding me?
Avoiding you? Well, I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, you do. Crockett, don't you remember just 10 minutes ago my chasing you all over the floor?
Oh, so help me. I don't.
Oh, there you are, my little bunnies.
Yes, here we are, Mrs. Montague.
All right, you can give me the crown now. I'm almost ready to announce the winner of the costume contest.
Well, we haven't taken it out yet, Mrs. Montague.
You haven't. You just said you were going to get it.
I didn't. Did you, Fritz?
Oh, not I, Flopsy.
Now, bunnies, stop playing jokes. One of you came up to me a couple of minutes ago and said you lost the combination to the safe, so I gave it to you again. You said you were going to get the crown. Now, where is it?
I don't know, but let's find it. When we arrived in the master bedroom, the worst had happened. The Degas original was down off the wall. The safe was open. Believe it or not, the $50,000 or $60,000 habitually kept in it wasn't even touched. But you, Mrs. Montague, weren't worried about the cash.
Oh, it's not there. The Josephine Crown is gone. Oh, this is frightful. What will Horace say?
We're sorry, Mrs. Montague.
Sorry? You were supposed to guard it. It's your fault. Maybe you stole it yourself.
Mrs. Montague, we did nothing of the kind.
I distinctly remember you saying you were going to get it. And I did give you the combination again. And after that, I know you did it. Oh, Horace, what happened, hubby dear?
Well, I was walking down the hall when a bunny came running out, dragged me into a room, made me take off my pickle.
Oh.
He hit me on the head with something. Then he took off his bunny suit, jumped right into my pickle, and ran off. Oh, my head.
Crockett and I dashed down the hall to the room the Pickle King had abdicated. On the floor was the limp, unfilled costume of a rabbit. The Montagues' party not only had a Flopsy and a Mopsy, but it also had a thieving Cottontail.
The makers of Wild Root Cream Oil are presenting the weekly Sunday adventure of Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, Sam Spade. Now, here's important news on good grooming. If you want the well-groomed look to help you get ahead socially or on the job, listen. Recently, thousands of people from coast to coast who bought Wild Root Cream Oil for the first time were asked, how does Wild Root Cream Oil compare with the hair tonic you previously used? The results were amazing. Better than 4 out of 5 replied that they preferred Wild Root Cream Oil. Remember, non-alcoholic Wild Root Cream Oil contains lanolin. It grooms the hair naturally, relieves dryness, and removes loose dandruff. So if you want your hair to be more attractive than ever before, get the new 25-cent Get Acquainted bottle of Wild Root Cream Oil, America's leading hair tonic, on sale at all drug and toilet goods counters. It's also available in larger economy bottles and a handy new tube. By the way, smart girls use Wild Root Cream Oil too. And mothers say it's grand for training children's hair. Get Wild Root Cream Oil, again and again, the choice of men and women and children too. And now, back to the Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail caper, tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
I left Fritz Crockett and you, Mrs. M., attending to Horace in your master bedroom, and bounded downstairs, through the guests and out the front door. I was standing there, wondering where to pick up the tracks of a rabbit turned pickle, when I saw the Foley's Bergère dancer come running out of the Montague mansion through a side entrance and enter a taxi. I jumped into another cab and followed her, divesting myself of my Flopsy costume en route. She went to the west end of O'Farrell Street and entered a shabby, gray apartment house. I followed. I knocked on every door until I found hers.
Yes?
Hey, it's me, the he-bunny, Flopsy. Remember?
Why did you follow me here?
Voila, because you're so beautiful. May I come in?
No.
Thanks.
I said no. Did you not hear me?
Yes, but have no fear. I'm bonded. How did you know there was a detective's heart beating under my rabbit suit?
I am not going to answer. You have no right to come in here.
Come on, how?
I think I overheard somebody say it. Now, if that is all you wanted to know, please go.
Why did you leave the party early?
Because it bored me. I thought America was not a police state. Why am I being questioned?
Because somebody stole the Josephine Crown that belonged to Mrs. Montague.
I am glad it was stolen, and I am delighted. but I did not steal it.
What's your name?
Charmaine Roguet. What is yours?
Sam Spade. Why were you so happy that the crown was stolen?
Because it does not belong in the ugly home of a childish woman who thinks only of her social position and her money.
Oh, where does it belong?
We take only what is ours, not money.
Well, where does it belong?
In France, where it was made and where it was appreciated.
I see. How much is it worth?
In money, 150 to 200 million francs. It is more than one can say. Now, will you leave me
You're
alone?
saying the crown means more to a Frenchman than money,
How would you like it if your Abraham Lincoln desk was being used by some businessman to serve cocktails over?
I get that point.
I tell you again, I do not know what happened to Josephine's crown tonight. Do you believe me?
I did, but only because when she left the party, she wore only her costume, and that costume wouldn't have hidden, she couldn't have had it on her. I went a block up the street, picked up a cab, and sat in it until she came out 5 minutes later. She was now in street clothes and carrying an overnight case. She drove to Castle Street, and I followed. She went into a restaurant called La Parisienne. I waited a discreet moment and then went in. She was nowhere to be seen, but a tall, lean, black-haired individual approached me with a menu in his hand.
Good evening, monsieur. I regret to say that we have just closed.
I'm not interested in eating. Where's the girl that just came in?
Girl, in here?
Don't dummy on me. She walked right in here 30 seconds ago. Brown hair, red coat, Charmaine Roguet by name.
You have made some mistake. As you can see, there is no one here.
I have made no mistake. Now come clean. Come on.
Monsieur, please let me go. No girl came in, but if one did, there is no place to hide but the kitchen.
All right, then show me the kitchen.
Monsieur Renault.
Monsieur.
It's Spade.
Well, it didn't take you long to get here, Mr. Montague.
Well,
Don't move, Mr. Spade. I have a knife at your neck.
Yes, I feel it.
Shall I take care of him, Mr. Montague?
No, Renault. Put down the knife.
Thanks.
Mr. Spade and I will sit down at the table and talk quietly. You can go.
As you say, monsieur, but I will keep out an eye.
That's keep an eye out.
Sit down, please. Spade, while you're here, I have a personal matter to take up with you.
About the Josephine Crown?
Yes.
Well, I'm sorry to report that as yet I haven't found it.
Good. I'll be happy if you never found it.
Oh. Does Mrs. Montague know you feel this way?
No. And I'd be real happy if she didn't know.
Uh-huh. In other words, you want me to stop looking for it.
That's the idea. Oh, you can make a pretense of trying to find it, but no more.
That's interesting.
I'll pay you a good fee if you do this for me.
Why don't you want it found, Mr. Montague?
I'll talk to you man to man.
Please do.
A French girl showed up in town.
Charmaine Roguet?
Well, then, you've seen her.
Quite a bit of her. At the party.
Yeah, well, she's young and beautiful, and, to get right to the point, I was indiscreet.
I see.
She turned out to be more designing than I realized.
Blackmail?
Of a sort. She didn't want to get money. She wanted the Josephine Crown.
And you let them steal it.
I told them I could get them into the party, furnish them with a car, and the rest was up to them.
Why didn't you just give them the crown?
Well, I couldn't. My wife values it too much. It's her prized possession. She even wears it around the house when just the two of us are there.
Yeah, that's cute.
Now, will you just forget about this, Spade?
I'm afraid not, Mr. Montague. I'm hired out to your wife who asked me to guard it. I did a bad job, so it's up to me to get it back.
Please, no, Spade. I can't afford a scandal with that girl.
Well, you'll have to work that out for yourself.
Very well. I'm sorry.
I must admit, Mrs. Montague, I underestimated your husband. For at that point, he produced a gun out of thin air and very professionally relieved me of mine. He called the proprietor, Renaud, who appeared with Charmaine Roget. They held an immediate kangaroo court. Sentence was about to be pronounced when the front door burst open and in swept a tall character in black beret and cape and sporting a handlebar mustache.
Uh-huh.
Prominently pinned on his cape were a brace of French war medals, including the Croix de Guerre and so on. His entrance held everybody bug-eyed, including me.
Allons savons de la
Keep
patrie.
your mouth shut,
Les jours de
Spade.
gloire c'est arrivé.
Ah, what a joyous, charming gathering we have here. Ah, the glow of warm friendship fills the room like a cozy fireplace in Alsace-Lorraine. Ah, it cannot be. Is it not my true mon ami, Monsieur Montague? I kiss you on both cheeks in happiness. Mwah. Mwah.
Hey, who are you? I don't seem to remember.
Oh, what? You are so soon forgetting me? We met at the Folies Bergère. Ah, those days. Do you not recall the nights in Montmartre and the days on Mont Blanc? Oh my goodness. Oh, Sacre and Bleu, that is Monsieur.
And when he bent over to kiss Montague again, his mustache fell off. As usual, Crockett had overplayed. And before he could straighten up, Renaud hit him on the back of the head and he fell flat on his face, out cold. Well, that was my cue to go into action. I turned over the table, wrestled with Horace and Renaud while Charmaine was striking at me with the heel of her shoe. I got to the gun first, and everything came to a sudden lull. At that point, Fritz Crockett came to.
Oh, mes amis, where did this sudden darkness come from?
Yeah, well, you can drop the dialect, Crockett.
Oh.
Wish I had a picture of you there on the floor for your scrapbook.
Oh, it was all an act, Sam. All an act.
Well, do you think you're well enough to hold this gun while I make a search?
Oh, leave it to me, Sam. Everything will be under control. Now stand back, everybody. I'm in charge here. The U.S. government is not entirely without influence in Washington.
I found the Josephine Crown hidden in the basement, and we called the police. I was afraid the incident struck a blow at Franco-American relations when a certain Charmaine Roget and Renaud produced 2 tickets, not for Paris or Points French, but for Rio de Janeiro. And you know the rest, Mrs. Montague. Your husband went home and you forgave him. He made a superb gesture towards international harmony by returning the Josephine Crown to the French Historical Society. And when you asked who might be the man to guard the crown safely back to La Belle France, I was overjoyed to be in a position to recommend to you Fritz Crockett. I hope he marries Soubrette and stays over there. Period. End of report.
Oh, Sam, isn't that Fritz Crockett an exciting man?
Don't let's talk any more about him. Let him get his own program. The first person in this office to mention his name again is a rotten egg.
Oh.
Now go type that up.
Don't buy a different brand of hair tonic for every member of your family. Get the one kind they all like. Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Wild Root Cream Oil grooms your hair neatly and naturally, relieves annoying dryness, and removes ugly dandruff. Get a bottle or two tonight. And ask your barber for professional application of Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children too.
Here it is, Sam, all typed up.
Thanks, Effie.
Sam Spade Detective Agency. Oh, it's for you, Sam.
Hello.
It's me, Sam. Fritz.
Oh, no.
I'm at the airport. I just wanted to tell you I'll be out of town for a while. I won't be using the office, so just take the whole thing over.
Well, that's very generous of you.
And you can use Effie if you need her for anything.
Well, I'll never be able to repay you.
Oh, that's all right. You did a pretty good job on the caper today.
Thanks.
You know, I was just talking with Mrs. Montague, and I said to her, I said, if you want a tip from me, the private eye you can rely on is over there.
Sam, you're not even listening.
I've had enough of him for one day. Come here. You'll have to be satisfied with my one arm.
That's good enough for me. Oh, good night, Sam.
Good night, sweetheart.
Good night, Fritz.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, are produced and directed by William Spier. Sam Spade is played by Howard Duff, Lorene Tuttle as Effie. The Adventures of Sam Spade are written for radio by Bob Tallman and Gil Dude. Music direction by Lud Gluskin, with scores by Renee and Pierre Garrigan. Join us again next Sunday when author Dashiell Hammett and producer William Spier join forces for another adventure with Sam Spade. Brought to you, transcribed by Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children too. This is Dick Joy signing off. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. And now for tonight's Riverside Radio Players cast. Effie Perrine was played by Donna Amesmeyer. Renaud Bernot was played by Herb Thompson. Anne of Austria was played by Ellie Babka. Horace Montague was played by Brad Zuro. Charmaine Rogier was played by Allison Byhun. Mrs. Montague was played by Kathy Juarez. Fritz Crockett was played by Jacob Palka. And Sam Spade was played by Jay Summerfield. And I was your announcer tonight, John Byhun.